Welcome everyone. I'm gonna walk you through a tutorial on how we run our Game of Thrones downtime activity in the Kingdom of Torrent campaign. Very easy, very simple. Less than 20 minutes, you'll understand all the particulars. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the Getting Started text channel on the lower left of the Discord server, and you're going to read through all this information. It's a very easy step-by-step process, and it gives you an overview of the entire process. Very simple. Essentially what this is as a diplomacy-based mini game that you can participate in to gain additional gold and influence and titles and recognition and prestige. It's a diplomacy game focused on interactions between players, and it's also a opportunity for some players to take a leadership role in managing the economics of their organization, of their house. It's a player-run teams, and you can have a leader that runs the economy for their house. Very simple, very easy. First step, create a house or join a house. If you're a player, all you need to do is join a house, and if you're a considering to be a house leader, like for example House Stark or House Tully, or it could be a tribe, or it could be a band of mercenaries, then hey, go over here to house creation, click on it, and this will run through all the different rules that you need to run to go to form a house. Very easy, located right here. Let's go back to getting started though. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go and add that house then to the house registry. So you're just going to tell me, hey Austin, I created a house. What do you think? You're going to private message it to me, and I'm going to say, yep, approved. And then I'll put you in the house registry. And right after that, you'll be right over here in house registry. So this is an example house that I whipped up. You could easily make a house in less than 20 minutes if you wanted to. Super easy. In fact, less than 15. All you got to do, create some history for your house. Your house already starts with one region, so that's already filled out. Fill out a motto, fill out a coat of arms. You're wondering, how do you create a coat of arms? Just look it up on the internet. Hell, if you don't want to make a unique coat of arms, you can just go and look up a few, coat of arms that already exist. For example, there are a ton of royal, like noble houses that have shields that you can copy online. There are a ton of different fan art and in the DeviantArt and ArtStation that you can copy. Just take one of those, easy peasy. And maybe it doesn't even need to be a shield. Maybe it can be a flag. I'm flexible with it. It's all good. After you're done with that, house creation, house registry, next you're going to go to house actions. This is the most complicated section, so stay with me here. This is critical. House actions describe what you can do throughout the week in order to gain an advantage, in order to gain prizes. So this is the most important section here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at this after you created a house. First thing you're going to do is, as a house leader, you have a special action you can do every week on behalf of your house. Essentially, you can command your house, your organization, to do something. So for example, you can command them to raid somebody. You can organize a team of people, they can raid someone, and you can steal a lot of gold, a lot of influence from them. You can organize a steal, which is like a covert theft of gold and influence from a house. You can host a competitive event. A competitive event is basically like a tournament, essentially. Like think about a tennis tournament or a football tournament or any kind of soccer tournament. There's so many different possibilities. It's essentially you organize an event, you charge a fee, so players have to pay you to participate in the event, and you have to have an opportunity to get prizes, which I'm going to give you some prizes that you can set based on what kind of skill checks you give, and essentially if the player beats the skill check, then they get the prize. All voluntary. Players have the option to join events to get prizes. You have the option to collect fees to get more prizes, right? So it's really good for you. And then a cooperative event, think about that as kind of an obstacle course that you can kind of play together. So players can cooperate together, and as long as one player beats the skill check, then everyone gets the prize, right? As long as one person beats the skill check, everyone gets the prize. So it's a lot more cooperative, a lot more safe, but there's also the prizes aren't as good. Next is every week on Sundays, all player characters get the chance to join one event and do an action. So you can join an event which is hosted by a house, and you can do one action. So players actually get two. As a house leader, you shouldn't feel bad about that because you're a player as well. So house leaders actually hit 3, right? They get a house action and they get to join an event and do an action. They get 3, which is awesome. So don't feel bummed out. You have plenty of options here. First option is assist. Essentially, you can help a house leader do something, right? You can offer to assist them, which typically comes with a lot of strategy, a lot of negotiation, asking people, hey, I want to help you, but I'm going to need a little bit of gold too. And so they'll give you gold, and that's another way to get more prizes. Train. You're probably wondering what train is. This is very essential here. Train is essentially a way of investing gold to improve your character in the campaign. This is essential. So for example, let's say you wanted to improve ability score. Like these gold prices might change depending on the economy. So for example, if the economy is flush with money, this might go up a little bit. If it's like really, scarce, then it might go down a little bit. But essentially, it's an ability to get an ability score increase, get a proficiency with tools or language or a skill. And essentially, you just have price or make a deal instead of rolling. So if you don't want to risk it, just make a deal. Give him some money. Buy him off. And remember that player characters can assist. They can give you a +1 d20 bonus. Remember what I talked about? The player assist option right here? The player assist option. Very important to get the players on your side. That's why you got to bribe them. And then please post the following message to do a raid roll. So you just post this, copy and paste this into the house conflicts to do it. Very easy. And this determines how much you can steal. This might change over time, but it's essentially based on how much you invest. If you beat them, you get 5 for every 1 you get. Very good payoff, right? So you're going to want to steal every now and again. But not too much, right? Or else you might have a bad reputation. Anyway, this might be adjusted over time. No big deal. I would invite you to take a look at these questions, these options, and check out the frequently asked questions text channel right here if you have any questions. Alright, so now you know about house registry, you know about the events, you know about house events, house conflicts. What are you going to do next? House leader records what actions they did in house conflicts, house events. We just covered that, right? The events are in the house events text channel. House conflicts, like the raid and the steal, are in there, along with the player options. You and your house members gather gold and influence to become the king or queen. Even if you do not win, you will enjoy a nice game of diplomacy, political intrigue, and gather gold pieces for the D&D game. Yep. So whoever has the most influence can participate in an auction, which is kind of described at the Game of Thrones text channel, to become the king or queen. And that's the whole idea, to claim that position of power. If you have any questions, please take a look at frequently asked questions. Very easy. The victory condition for the Game of Thrones is in the Game of Thrones text channel, right? So if I went there, I would kind of go through the text channel. So this describes the victory conditions. This describes a few small notes on when you create a house. They get starting resources, and they get a region, right? So you can have some territory when you start a house. A lot of cool stuff. This is part 2 of Game of Thrones. I'll come to that in a second. But essentially, this describes the victory conditions for it. Lastly, there's something called economy, market, and purchases. If you want to know how many resources each house has, take a look at the economy. If you want to know what assets each house has purchased, take a look. Can purchase, take a look at market. If you want to know what other houses have purchased, take a look at purchases. So essentially, houses have territories, and those territories, just like in real life, they generate profit for you. They generate items that we use for your characters. So you, as a house leader, you actually take a position of power within this world. You can have real dynamic changes. And so if you want to take a look at that, so here's the campaign. You've already clicked it. Very smart, very cunning and clever of you to already click that thing. Very nice. But essentially, yeah, let's go over to here. Let's walk you through how the economy system works. So I'm going to assume you've already created a house. I'm going to assume you've already gone through this and taken a look at the house actions. The next thing you would do as a house leader, remember a house leader has a little bit more of a time requirement here, is you would manage the economy of your house. You would have the opportunity to gather resources and build buildings. You'd have the opportunity of recruiting assets like units, military units, economic units, traders, diplomats, lawyers to your house, and they would have a real effect on what you would be able to do. So after you read through the victory conditions and you decide, okay, whoever has the most influence is going to be able to participate in a public auction. Whoever bids the most influence in the public auction will be able to get a region, and those regions will produce resources for you. And this is where we enter into the civilization portion of our downtime game, where essentially it's like a resource management game. It's like where you start out with some food, some production, and some gold. You start with 100, and you start with 100 gold, and you have a certain amount of income per day, which you can update every couple of days, or every day if you want. And you obtain it after you obtain a region from an auction. They generate a random amount of resources and a random luxury or strategic resource. Essentially, what it means is that you have a house and you own land, and that land produces resources for you. And sometimes that land will give a luxury resource or some kind of strategic resource that unlocks a technology. So if you would go through and you'd read through part 2 here, you'd find out, okay, so there's 3 main resources, and at the end of every day, your house leader can collect resources. You can buy stuff in the market, When you buy something, you must update your house in the economy, right? You have to keep a running total. I can't keep track of all the houses for you. You gotta keep track of your own. And then you can buy stuff in purchases. Make sure to post a small message in there when you buy something. And then you use these purchases to propel your house to greatness. For example, if you're participating in a raid or participating in a steal, or something like that, it'd be helpful to have some knights or some, magicians or maybe some kind of thief helping you out. And so just like what I talked about before, you have land, right? And your land has different resources on them. Very simple. Essentially what this does, it just gives you a bonus to how much income you have. For example, if you own a land that has amber on it, that land produces 20 gold a day. 20 gold a day. That's a ton of gold, right? 20 gold a day. A week later, you have 140 gold. And easy peasy, right? Well, you have to spread that around through all your players. So maybe now it's only 70 gold for you. All right, not as well, but still 70 gold is a ton. I love it. That's one health potion plus 20 gold. Then you have to take a look at what you can buy. And now you realize, okay, I have all this money. It's time to buy stuff. It's time to buy stuff. So I go over here to the market and I look at all these options I have. There's a ton of options, ton of opportunities. You can increase the amount of food you get. You can increase the production, which increases how often you can purchase stuff. It builds stuff, buildings and units. And of course, there's just investing in your tax income, right? You're the manager of this land. You're the lord of this land. You can build houses, taverns, stores, townhouses. You can create your own buildings to make it. It could be something ridiculous if you wanted to. Please, no tanks, no flying towers, please. But yeah, you can make any buildings you want. Just keep it in the realism range. And yeah, all of them have unique bonuses. You can create your own units if you want. Brainstorm. You're gonna be able to introduce these new mechanics into the game if you want. You could have a build. You could create a builder in your house, and then later in the campaign, you can come across that builder. Or maybe you roll really badly on a misfortune roll, and the builder dies. You could come across his grave. A lot of cool stuff here. Here is the economy, right, for your house. So every day you update it. So here's the 21st. I would need to update it. I would say, okay, my current resources, I got 8 food, so I update this to 108. Production, 111. You could store up resources and then pretend someone decided to attack you, someone decided to steal your gold. Well, you are not going to stand for that, right? You spend your production, you buy up like 100 knights, and you go over to his castle and you just beat the crap out of him. Yeah, excuse my language there. Just destroy him, and yeah, you can have a little revenge. Try to keep it. What happens in character stays in character. No hard feelings. If you want to get back at him, just do it in game. It's a friendly environment here. And so yeah, you keep track of your economy here. All the options that you have to purchase are in the market and purchases, right? So pretend I wanted to buy 10 militia units. I just write House Apollo or House Example. House Nemesis is buying 10 militia units. Done. And you tell me how much that costs. And then you go over here to the economy and you would update your resources. We use the honor system, so please don't cheat. I beg of you. If you found this video helpful, please drop a like, subscribe, and post something in the comments saying, hey, I watched the video, it was great. I would really, really appreciate it. It helps me know that you actually care about these videos, you care about the campaign. And if you don't, then I will know that you didn't actually watch the video, and that'll hurt me a little bit. If you have any questions, please take a look at frequently asked questions, and if you don't find anything, go over to the general chat and shoot a message over to me, and I will respond as soon as I can.